يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. أما بعد. We move on after finishing the chapters related to transactions, which means that now we're rich. We buy and sell and lease and do all kind of transactions. We've got money. When we have money, we move on to satisfying one of the natural desires, and that is marriage. And marriage is something that Islam highly promotes. There would not be a society that is whole without marriage. And this is the way of our Prophet ﷺ. And in order to follow his footsteps, we are in great need to learn the rules governing this beautiful form of worship. So what's the definition of marriage or nikah? Linguistically, nikah means to embrace and to intermingle. So when you go to a garden and the branches are intermingled and interwoven, that would be something linguistically similar to nikah. However, when we come to the Islamic terminology, it's a contract like any other contract, where there is ijab and qubul, proposal and acceptance, conditions and pillars and the whole 9 yards. The purpose of this contract is to enable the participants, that is the spouses, to enjoy intimacy with one another in a halal manner. Marriage is prescribed, mentioned in the Quran clearly in many places, and the rulings governing it is also mentioned in the Sunnah, and the scholars had their consensus upon it. Allah Azza wa Jal says in Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, then marry those that please you of other women, 2 or 3 or 4. And the Prophet ﷺ encouraged the youngsters, the youth, when he said, O young men, whoever among you is able to afford it, then he should get married. So what about those who are financially unable? The Prophet said, if this is the case, then they should fast, because it will be a shield for him, those who cannot get married. And the Prophet said that, alayhi salatu wasalam, when he heard of 3 of his companions pledging that one of them would never sleep at night and he would pray all night long. The other one pledged not to marry women or enjoy women. The third one pledged not to break his fast, to fast the whole year. The Prophet was angered by that, and he addressed the companions by correcting their misconception, and he said, and I marry women. Whoever turns away from my sunnah is not one of me. Ibn Qudama, may Allah have mercy on his soul, said, the consensus of all scholars, that it is a legitimate thing. It is a prescribed thing to get married. Now, marrying differs from one individual to the other. Someone who has a chronic illness that prevents him from fulfilling the rights of his spouse or her spouse and does not disclose this to the spouse, marrying is haram. Example, someone who has HIV virus positive and he goes and proposes to a woman without disclosing that he has this illness, it is prohibited for him to marry her. He has to give them a heads up before proceeding in this. Also, marrying is permissible. It's not mandatory, but when a person knows of himself that if he does not get married, he's going to fall into fornication and he's going to commit haram, then getting married for him becomes mandatory. And it is highly recommended if a person has huge desire but knows himself that he will not fall into haram, it becomes highly desired but not mandatory with the grace of Allah. What's the justification? What's the wisdom of making marriage prescribed? We could go on till Fajr time discussing the benefits, the beauty, and the favors and blessing of Allah upon us behind marriage. What comes on top of the list is the sustainability of the human race. If you go to Europe, and I think if you go to Japan as well, people there are so engaged in work and in pursuing their own desires that they don't want children. And so many people, celebrities especially, unfortunately, I don't know how they become celebrities to the Muslims. This is the biggest problem. But we hear of celebrities having an affair with their girlfriends for 10, 15 years, having children and not marrying. Still. Also, to increase the number of the population. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, marry a fertile woman who would give you children, because on the day of judgment, I'll boast other prophets and messengers with the number of my followers. With marriage, an individual can lower his gaze, protect his chastity, because he has a halal thing for him that would prevent him from going to haram. And you could talk endlessly about the tranquility, the peace, the love, the compassion between the spouses that without marriage would not be possible to have. Now, when you want to marry someone, you have to choose, and you have to choose wisely. So when a man wants to marry a woman, he has to choose a religious woman. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, a woman may be married for 4 things: for her wealth, for her social status, for her beauty, and for her religious commitment. The Prophet went on to say, alayhi salatu wasalam, choose the one with the religious, who is religiously committed. May your hands be rubbed with dust, meaning may you prosper, because if you don't, then your hands are rubbed in dust and you will have no prosperity, none whatsoever. There's no problem in having someone who's religiously committed and beautiful and rich and from a good family. Also, it is recommended for a man to marry a virgin, someone who was not married before. And the Prophet ﷺ said this to Jabir, and we've mentioned this in a previous class. Jabir married someone who was previously married, whether a divorcee or a widow. And when the Prophet asked him, why did you not marry a virgin so that you could play with her and she could play with you? Jabir explained that when my father, may Allah be pleased with him, was martyred, he left a number of sisters, and they were young. And I did not want to bring another naive, inexperienced wife to them. So I chose that woman who was someone wise. When choosing a husband, of course, the one who chooses usually is the guardian. But the woman marrying has a huge say in it. I, as a father, may choose someone who I think would be a good husband to my daughter. He's rich, he's powerful, he has authority. My daughter should be wise enough to know that this is a man who she is going to live with for the rest of her life, not her father. So she has to know that she's the one who's going to be stuck with him. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in an authentic hadith, if there comes to you one with whose religious commitment and character you are pleased, then give your daughter to him in marriage. If you do not do that, there will be fitna in the land and widespread mischief. So the Prophet is highlighting to us not only the religious commitment, but also his character. So many times we have good practicing brothers, long beards, short thobes, praying in the masjid, but the character is trash. They're rude, they're stingy, they lie. No, you should not take this man. And sometimes they are the best of character, kind and compassionate and friendly and generous, but they don't pray. Again, this is not permissible. Sometimes they may have both the religious commitment and the good character, but they don't have a degree, they don't have a job. I wouldn't encourage a woman to throw herself under the bus for such a person. So there has to be a form of balance that a household is built on, so that the marriage would be sustainable and ongoing بإذن الله عز وجل. هذا والله أعلم ونسبة العلم إليه أسلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن، وتعلم الفقه الميسر عاملا بالشرع دون تعصب لفلان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.